Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Aviation X Lab Accelerate Wellbeing webinar. This is a very exciting challenge, and we're very keen on sharing more information with you. Getting started, just letting you know that this webinar will be recorded and will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel. And we will also share the recording with all interested companies. So no need to record it from your side. Also, no need to really take any active notes because you will be able to rewatch this shortly. All right, so today I'm Natasha and I will be representing Area 2071, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this ecosystem very shortly. And today I'm also joined with Amna Alreda from the Aviation X Lab. I know we're very keen to get to hear from her a little bit more, so we'll be introducing her shortly. Just to let you know about the agenda today, so I'll talk you through a little bit about Area 2071, the ecosystem that is hosting this challenge alongside the Aviation X Lab. And then, of course, we'll also learn a little bit about the Aviation X Lab and more specifically going into the challenge, understanding its program format and the timeline, and also the application deadline and the process. And last but not least, we'll open up for question and answers. Now, you might notice that there's no chat function, but there is a Q&A function. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them out there. During the Q&A session, we'll be referring to that Q&A box and picking up questions from there for Amna and myself to answer. Now, like I mentioned, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Area 2071. Now, Area 2071 is an initiative of Dubai Future Foundation. Now, Dubai Future Foundation lends its mission from a quote of His Highness, which is basically that the future belongs to those that imagine, design, and execute it. So the vision of the foundation is to basically institutionalize future shaping. And we basically do a number of initiatives to be able to support that. As you can see, there are many different types of initiatives here. You can see Dubai Future Labs, you can see a regulation lab, we have Dubai Future Councils. All the information about these initiatives is available on our website, but today I want to highlight Area 2071. Now, Area 2071 was announced 3 years ago when the UAE announced its ambitious vision to become one of the world's leading nations by 2071. So why 2071? Because that will be 100 years of UAE. And basically what we have done as part of Area 2071 is created this ecosystem which connects private sector to government and to talent and technology. So this is kind of where you can have different stakeholders from these really primary ecosystems come together. Now, how do we do that? We do that through programs. And the flagship program of the Dubai Future Foundation is, of course, the Dubai Future Accelerators program. I know that we have some alumni on the webinar here today. Welcome. And also, many of you might be familiar with them, but might be something you want to look out for. We're launching applications for cohort 8 soon as well. We also worked on, we also hosted Techstars. So they've run 2 cohorts out of Area 2071. Then we have other initiatives with other private corporate partners like P&G and Alphathane, which is a local conglomerate. And most importantly, and where I want to highlight the initiative we'll be talking most about today is the Aviation X Lab. So for that, I'll go ahead and introduce my colleague, Amna Alreda. Amna.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you so much, Natasha. That was a fantastic introduction. And thank you to everyone who's joined. We have quite a lot of people on, which is always exciting. A lot of familiar names and a lot of new names as well. So thanks to everyone who's with us today. We have some exciting things that we're going to share. So I'm really looking forward to it. Like Natasha mentioned, if you do have any questions, just please feel free to drop them in the Q&A box. Otherwise, please follow our social media accounts and you can reach myself and my colleagues directly if you want to connect further after that as well. Tasha, if we can just jump to the next slide, please. Thank you. So for those who aren't familiar with Aviation X Lab, I'll just take you quickly through the vision and how it all started. I think Natasha gave a fantastic introduction on Area 2071, and that's really where Aviation X Lab seed was planted. And the main reason being is obviously aviation travel and tourism is quite a key industry when it comes to the United Arab Emirates, specifically Dubai. So how do you not only harness more of that key industry, but how do you sustain it? How do you continue to develop it? Emirates, being one of the key pillars when it comes to travel and aviation, decided to start what we call the Aviation X Lab. And it's in its essence, Aviation X Lab is planning the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of innovation when it comes to the aviation industry. And we're going to look at the different programs that we have and how we really want to foster a lot of that innovation. It comes under a few different programs that we're going to run you through, but in essence, that's really what the vision is about. Now, jumping to our partners and how Aviation X Lab was founded, is that it's not only Emirates Airline alone, which I think everyone really knows pretty well, and it's fantastic for us, but it's actually 5 global aviation giants who have come together under one roof that we call Aviation X Lab to really co-create the next 50 years of aviation. So we have with us Emirates Airline, GE, Airbus, Thales, Collins Aerospace, and then we also have DO, our digital innovation provider. As you can see, all of the different aviation companies come from very different backgrounds. But if you ever got on an Emirates plane, you will see different pieces and parts from each and every one of our partners. And I think that's really the beauty when it comes to aviation. And it really is all about co-creation. And it's fantastic that these 5 aviation companies have come together, again, not to compete or not to sell products, but to really think about what does the future of aviation look like. And if we can just jump to the next slide, thank you. So a little bit about our paths. For those of you who have joined our previous webinars, you would know the Aviation X Lab moonshots pretty well. We call them moonshots because they're very long-term, very strategic. They're based on ideas that you then develop. They have a very futuristic factor to them, and it contributes to the industry as a whole. And this actually just closed last week. So thank you for all of those who are on and applied to our moonshots. We will be getting back to you within the next couple of weeks. Jumping ahead, what we then decided to launch is Aviation X Lab Accelerate. And it takes a slightly different format compared to the Aviation X Lab moonshots. So like we said, the moonshots are more long-term, they're futuristic innovations, it's all about co-creation, whereas Aviation X Lab Accelerate is more focused on the today and the now. So we're looking at ready-to-fly products, and products that obviously can enhance the travel experience today. So it's not about co-creating, it's not an accelerator in its sense, but it's really tapping into the best products that we have today that can contribute to the travel industry. So when we talk about Aviation X Lab Accelerate, what does that look like and what are we looking for exactly? It's the way that it honestly came about is everything to do with COVID, right? And we really saw how COVID hit and shook the aviation industry in ways that no one could have imagined. Everyone kind of assumed that 9/11 was the biggest hit that would ever tap the aviation industry. And what has happened with COVID is nothing compared to what has happened before. It's quite drastic in its impact. We've seen, quite long-term effects that everyone's going to be challenged with over the next couple of months and potentially years. So we thought, okay, what we have with the moonshots is fantastic when it comes to long-term and future thinking, but what can we do today to really support the travel industry? And obviously to really support passengers, right? Because one of the key things that everyone has been hit with is, can we actually make sure that our passengers are protected? Can we enhance their well-being? Can we make sure that their journey is safe? And that's what we look for when it comes to Aviation X Lab Accelerate. So it's focusing on products that can really provide our passengers with that comfortable feeling that they feel they're protected, they're safe, their well-being is preserved. And it doesn't have to be a product that necessarily only accompanies them during the time they're on board, but more of a product that goes from A to Z and is part of their entire travel journey. And obviously going forward, a product that they can then take back home with them, or that they can continue using to continue having that well-being factor. Obviously, because we're looking at products that we can implement now, these products need to be ready to fly or ready to market. So in comparison to the moonshots, we're looking at ideas. With Aviation X Lab Accelerate, we're looking purely at products. And if those products come with a complimentary service or a service that could enhance the experience, that's fantastic. But our main objective is to really look at products that we can add to our travel experience for all of our passengers. With that, I hope that made some sense. But with that, I'm going to hand it over to Natasha, who's going to speak about Aviation X Lab Accelerate from a programming perspective. Again, we say accelerate, not just because we want the product today, but it's a very, very short timeline compared to the moonshots that we have. So I'll hand it over to you, Natasha. And thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you, Amna. All right, perfect. So as Amna said, we're looking at, sourcing these innovations now. The reason being because we're finding ourselves in a situation where travel is opening up. We're still going through COVID, and we want to be able to find solutions that we can actually bring in to the traveler's journey that can actually enhance their experience of their, feeling safer and hygienic and having a better well-being when traveling. So to this end, since we're looking at solutions which are already ready to market, we're actually hosting a pitching competition. So what this is accelerated sourcing of innovation. What we want to understand is what else is out there, what is already out there, what is being developed, what is it that we can collaborate with you, bring to a traveler's journey, and make immediate impact. So the way this is going to be operating is right now we have the outreach ongoing, and we will be inviting the shortlisted companies to come in for a virtual program. As you know, we will not be doing an in-residence program for this, but a short virtual program after which there'll be a virtual pitching competition to scope out the right and the most innovative solutions that can be ready to bring to market. Now, when we talk about the stages, right now we're actually in the application period. The applications opened last week, and it's great to see so many applications already coming in. And soon we're going to go into the evaluation period. One of the questions that we got quite a lot within the registrations for this webinar was what are our criterias. So we're sharing them here. So we want to make sure that your solution is fit to challenge, that it does, that it is, there's an ease to use, and yes, that it does fit into a traveler's journey. We want to make sure that this solution can be scaled. Because we're looking at introducing it at airports, in airplanes, we want to make sure that your solution, it can easily be scaled to the requirements that might be needed. Given that we are looking at introducing the solution as soon as possible, the solution should be ready for market or should already be in the market. We're looking at degree of innovation because we want to ensure that what we are bringing into the traveler's experience is something new. We want to make sure that, what we'll be looking at is the credibility of your company to deliver. So when you see the application form, it really does refer to asking a few questions about your company to get a better understanding of the team and the organization. And of course, we want to make sure that your solution or the product that you are suggesting is impactful. And when we talk about impact, what we mean is that it does make a traveler feel safer when going to the airport to board on a journey. After the evaluation stage, we'll go into the verification stage, which is that if you pass through stage 1, you will then be having a short interview with either the DFF or the Aviation X Lab team to just further validate your information. They might have some questions for you. And if you then move forward from that stage, you will then be selected as one of the top 8. So what we are looking at is 8 companies for the pitching competition. And once we select the top 8, or the Aviation X Lab Council selects the top 8, we will then be sending the onboarding or the letter of commitment to these companies to ensure that you are, you are committed to this program and this pitching competition. And if selected, that you would be able to deliver. After that, we will have a 3-day virtual program. So what this is going to be 2 days are going to be focused on you getting a better understanding of what the requirements are from your pitch, from a perspective of content. We also will support you with regards to the visuals of your pitch to make sure that you have the best assets to be successful. And also you will get a chance to hear from the Aviation X Lab team and different partners to get a better understanding of their brand and their requirements. One of the days we'll also do rehearsals for the pitch. And then of course, stage 6 is pitch day. On pitch day, the teams will then make a decision on which company or companies they would like to move forward with. Now, another question that we got repeatedly in our Q&A is who can apply? Now, this is actually open to any company, irrespective of size and annual revenue. So you can be a startup, you can be a corporation in the market with a legacy of 50 years. So irrespective of size, this competition is open to you. And you should have a ready for market solution. Because we want to be able to bring impact as soon as possible, it's very important that your solution already be ready to be tested or already be tested. You should have the capacity to deliver. We're looking at a solution that can actually be provided to travelers at Dubai Airport. So we want to make sure that you do have the capacity to deliver for the travelers. Your company can be based anywhere in the world. So you do not have to be restricted to the UAE or to Dubai or to the Middle East even. You can participate in this competition from anywhere in the world. And I think that's the beauty of it being virtual. And most importantly, as long as you have an impactful solution. So anyone who has an impactful solution is welcome to apply. Now, the timeline. Now, as you can see, our timeline is quite short. Application deadline is actually the 3rd of August, which gives you just over a week to finalize your applications. Then we'll be taking from the 4th to the 25th of August to vet the applications. This is where the duration in which we will also be conducting any interviews if required. By the August 26th, the top 8 teams would know if they've been selected. Then we would be doing the virtual prep and the pitching competition from the 2nd to the 8th of September. So from the 2nd and the 3rd of September is going to be the virtual programming. We're going to give you 2-3 days in the middle to submit your final presentations. We will do one rehearsal on the 7th of September, and then on the 8th is going to be the official pitch day. And then you will hear the final decision of the winner or winners by the Aviation X Lab team. So what is the vetting process? When you apply on the platform, which I'm going to go into a little bit later, you will see that there are 3 different stages. There is the evaluation stage, which is going to be focused entirely on your application form. We will then go into the interview stage. We conduct our interviews via Zoom, and then there'll be the selection of top 8. So you will be sent emails at each stage if you do progress forward. We will be letting all the selected companies know on the 26th of August. Now, how to apply. Now, we have a programs platform where you can see you can apply for the Aviation X Lab challenge, but you can also apply for all the other live challenges. So it's actually programs.dubaifuture.gov.ae, where you can go and you can register yourself and your organization, after which you can apply to as many challenges as you please. Now, I'm just going to talk you through about how to set up your account on this, because we do get some queries on that. You can actually set up your account by clicking register or log in on the programs platform. But if you want to set up your account before you even try to get on the platform, you can create your future ID on id.dubaifuture.gov.ae. The process is the same if you go via the platform or on this platform. And what you will do, the first step is to type in your email address and agree to the terms and conditions. You will then choose your password. After you've selected your password, you'll be asked to confirm your email. A verification code will be sent to you, and you can then plug in the verification code and confirm. If in the case you do not receive the verification code, you can also resend the email. And what we do recommend is that you do two-factor authentication. And then after that, you just complete your personal profile. So your personal profile is a little detailed. It has email, it has your mobile, it has education, biography, et cetera, et cetera. But this is basically all the information that will then also be filtering straight into your applications when you do apply. So do take the time and effort to fill out the full profile once, and it would be much easier for you to go ahead and apply to future challenges when you do. And then, of course, you should create your organizational profile as well. So this is basically the company that you would like to apply on behalf of. If you are a founder of a startup, you would create your startup organization here and fill in the details. Then on the platform, you can go ahead and easily apply to any challenges that are good fit for you using your organization. All right, so that was a little bit of housekeeping there. And now I think it's the most exciting part, which is the question and answer session. And I think, Amna, you'll be taking the lead on this one. But let's see what questions we've already received. All right, so we have a question from Oriel Cortez. Will projects that are not ready for market but have a clear timeline be considered, Amna?
So the answer to that would be if that timeline fits within when we want to launch the products. And we're obviously looking at a very super accelerated time frame. So it really depends on when that would be. I would say anything that takes over a year might not be the best fit for this program. And that could be something for the Aviation X Lab moonshots instead.
Perfect. And another question we have from Agnieszka Pajak, I hope I got that correct. Is it possible to present holistic solutions or only single products?
No, holistic solutions are perfectly fine, but it does need to have a product element to it, in the sense that we're not only looking for service or experience-based solutions, but we actually want a physical product that the passengers obviously can have with them as well.
Great. Can we propose solutions both for travelers and for improving the airport well-being?
Yes, that will be the perfect solution.
All right, perfect. Does vetting require input from applicants, or is this done by X Labs internally? I think I'll take this one. When you apply for the program, you will see that you have an application form, which is quite thorough. And there are quite a few different sections in which we do try to cross-reference you with the evaluation criteria. So what we would be doing then is using those responses to understand if you're a good fit. And depending on if we have any further questions or clarifications required, then you might be moved on to the interview stage where you can give your input. However, we would not actively be requesting any documentation, just the information that you would have uploaded as part of your application. All right, I hope that answers your question. All right, then we have, all right, question from Jack, Jack Madalena. Is there a time frame to launch said solution?
Yes, so the time frame would be we would ideally want to launch this before end of the year. Obviously, now that travel is resuming, obviously incrementally, but there's quite lots of different stages for travel resumption. So we want to take advantage of that and have the product ready before end of the year.
Perfect. Then we have another question from Fulgencio Navarro. I hope that I pronounced that correctly. Is there a roadmap or a timeline after the final decision for starting the project? I think that ties in a little bit with Jack's question.
Yes.
All right. Okay, we got a question from Rajesh. I don't have my company registered yet. Am I still eligible to apply?
I'm honestly, the only worry with that would be if the product is able to be used and if it's approved. Obviously, that's one of the criteria that we have, that the products need to be approved from a safety regulation perspective and that it can be scaled. So if that can be achieved without the company, that should be fine. But that would be the only restriction, I would say.
Perfect. Then we have a question from Soren. After the final decision is made on the winners, what would be the outcome for the finalists? Are the Aviation X Lab stakeholders going to invest in these solutions?
So this program is a little bit different than the Moonshot, whereas it's not going to be a direct financial investment. Instead, we're going to be enabling and facilitating, providing these products, whether it's to passengers or airport personnel. So that's more from where the investment would be coming from.
Yes, and what you'll notice is when you go to fill out the application form, we also ask you what would be the business model of the traveler purchasing your solution. So would it be, like, let's say, a kiosk at the airport? Would it be with flight ticket? Would this be, let's say, something that's handed out in business class? But it really just depends on what your solution is and what is the business model that you are supporting. And that way, basically the Aviation X Lab partners will enable you to be able to get your solution to the traveler so that they can feel safer. All right. Then from Burkak, it's at the end, what is the benefit for the winning 8 selected companies? I'll just answer this. So basically, to clarify, there will be a shortlisted 8 companies. There will not be, maybe there were 8 winners, but what we will be doing is at the end of the application process, let's presume we get, let's say, 200 applications. We'll be selecting the top 8 applicants and inviting them to the pitching competition. And at the pitching competition, you will then present your solution or your business model to the Aviation X Lab team, and then they'll make a final decision on who is the winner. So for the 8, you will get the opportunity and the access to the Aviation X Lab Council to present your solution and your business model. And for one or few of you, it would be, they will enable you to get your solution to the travelers. All right. Then we have, do the solutions have to be a tangible product or can be a service as well?
So they need to be a product first and a service next, if that makes sense. We don't just want to provide a service because we do want it to be a tangible product that obviously if the passenger is going to be purchasing, they can have with them, it's mobile and they can take with them post-flight journey as well. If that comes with an added service, that's a plus, but it needs to be a product.
Perfect. Then we have, again, I think some questions on Can you clarify if the solution selected will receive any funding? I think Amna's clarified that. And what is the expectation, a POC or full implementation?
Sure. So the expectation is that it would be a full implementation. That is why we're looking at products that are ready to be used alongside a full business plan of how that is going to be achieved. So I hope that answers your question.
All right. We just had a similar question. Is there a prize? And what is the outcome once preferred partners are chosen? Like Amna mentioned, the Aviation X Lab team will enable you to be able to reach your desired customers. All right. Then we have, okay, can you please elaborate more on the B2B versus B2C aspects of the solution and priorities of both?
Sure. For this one, we would ideally want it to be B2C, just because that would facilitate an accelerated product and being able to provide it to the passengers. The moonshots are more of B2B. However, again, this is something that will be discussed between the winning teams during the business proposal and all of the negotiations that happen during that point. But I think our focus would be for it to be business to consumer. B2C.
Perfect. So Mohammed, ideally we want the traveler to be able to use this solution. And as Amna mentioned in the very beginning, when we were going through the challenge statement, we're looking at a solution that will make a traveler feel safer, but also a solution maybe the traveler can keep with them and continue using outside, let's say, of the travel environment, maybe in other public spaces. So be it a mall or be it any other, let's say, public spaces. So something when, looking at something that the traveler can purchase and keep with him. All right. Okay, so we have a question from Nick. Will you consider IoT solutions, which require some element of hardware to be installed?
Again, this just depends on the benefits and the value that will be achieved from doing so, and comparing it, again, doing the pitching competition to the other ideas and the other products that have been submitted. But yes, these could be considered.
Great. All right, we have a question from Lays. Will you accept finalized prototypes with proven production capabilities?
First of all, hi, Lays. It's so good to see you, because I know Lays was having a brainstorming session yesterday. So we accept finalized prototypes, proven production capabilities. We just need to be very confident that we're able to scale the product within the time frame, and that from a business perspective, it can make sense. So I would say if it's a working prototype, that's absolutely fine, but it just needs to be a product that can go straight to market.
Thank you. Then we have another question. I think it's a follow-up question from Mohammed. If the solution is only for the airport, if it's B2B, something for the airport environment, would it still be considered?
The focus currently is for it to be B2C, and for it to be a product that the passengers obviously can take with them post their journey. If the solution is only airport, then again, that would have been a fantastic one for the moonshot. But for this one, we're focused more on passenger products, again, mobile products that they can take with them beyond the doors of the airport.
Great. All right. Okay. Interesting question from Nicholas. Do solutions need to be revenue generating?
It would be ideal if they are revenue generating. Then we would hit jackpot. But that wouldn't be the main focus. No, the main focus would be for it to be able to provide the impact that we want. And that's obviously enhancing passenger well-being and making sure that the passengers can fly comfortably and safely.
Great. All right, we have a question from Marcus. Can the product be a B2C solution that is sold B2B? So for instance, to Emirates or to the airport or to the duty free, I don't know.
Yes. That could be an option. Again, we're looking at being able to provide the product to our consumers through our different platforms, whether that's on the airport or the Emirates official store. Again, that will be discussed as part of the business plan, but that could definitely be an option that will be considered.
Great. We have a lot of questions. Nice.
No, we keep going on.
All right. Okay, so I think Mohammed Saad has a question for me. So he asks, within the organizational profile that will be created on the platform, can multiple team members be added to the organization? And the answer is yes. So for example, if Mohammed, you go up and you create your profile and you add your organization, in the future, more of your team members, you can actually add more team members to that organization. Great. Also, if you have any, queries regarding the platform, or, you get stuck at some point, I'm going to be sharing an email address at the end of this presentation. Also becoming, will be, it'll be on YouTube as well. So you can always send us an email on that. All right. So we have a question from Jason. How is the IP around our innovations protected? Is there agreements put in place once presented?
Sure, definitely. So of course the IPs will be protected because this is not it's not a co-creation of the solutions. It's more simply providing access for your solutions and products to be purchased or provided to passengers during their airport experience. And of course, about the agreements in place and whatnot, all of these things will be managed through legal. As Natasha mentioned, actually, one of the key items we're going to be going for is the NDA, and that's before we even start any aspects of the program. So of course, we can also have IP-specific discussions going forward and making sure that that is also protected during the program.
Great. All right. Okay, so we have a question from Nicholas. If there is no financial incentive, can X Lab partners, Emirates, Thales, Airbus, etc., commit to promoting winning products on their platforms and drive media attention?
That would be what would happen, regardless, in the sense that the investment would come from Emirates or the Aviation X Lab providing the product access again on all the different platforms, depending on the business solution. When it comes to media attention, again, that's not something that we really control as Aviation X Lab. So that will just be a discussion that we would have again with the winning team separately, and understanding exactly what the expectations would be. But of course, if you do win the Aviation X Lab, there's a lot of media that goes with that. so it's almost a given.
Yeah. All right, great. Then we have, I've lost my mouse. Okay, Nick, can you provide some examples of the types of solutions you have in mind?
Yes and no. Yes, because I will just say the most basic things. So I don't want to kind of dilute all the good innovations that will be coming through. Again, the advice that I would give, not advice, but what I would say we're very focused on, again, is having a passenger-focused product that a passenger can take with them on board the flight and as part of their journey to really feel protected. If you think about yourself today, right? And if you walk in the airport, what would almost enhance your experience straight away, right? And, considering all the checks that you have, so you have your mask on, you have your gloves, you have your Dettol or, your spray. But when you sit in the cabin, what else can really enhance your experience? When you're walking outside the airport gates, when you sit in your Uber, all these different elements, when you look at the travel experience, I would say just put yourself in the passenger's place and think of all the different innovations and all the different products that would really support the passengers and the travelers from that perspective.
Amazing. Question from Salma. Should the solution be affordable?
The solution should definitely be affordable, again, because you want to provide it to passengers and of all classes, right? From your economy to your business to your first. So the more affordable it is, the more impact we're going to be able to generate.
Great. All right. Yes, I think Mark has asked a very similar question. If you have the perfect solution, is it cost sensitive?
Yes.
Right. But honestly, Mark, it really depends on how innovative your solution is and how much impact it's truly bringing. Because I mean, it really, depends from like hygiene kits to something a little bit more, let's say, technologically advanced or more innovative. So it really just depends on how much benefit does a passenger see from procuring your said solution. So I think, yeah. Um, all right, question from Raisa. If you have entered the moonshot challenges, can you still apply for this or not?
Sure. And I think this actually links to just the question above it also. If you have entered for any of the moonshots already, that's absolutely fine. You can still apply for this challenge again because they're very different in their nature. If you are applying with the same product or the same solution, please do notify us. And you can just add that in the comment section just so we're also aware that you are applying with the same product to both solutions, but that shouldn't be an issue at all.
Yeah. And if you want to reach us, you can reach us on the email address I'll be sharing at the end of the presentation. All right. We have a question from Amna. Could individuals participate or should it be within organizations?
I would say that really depends if the individual owns the product in the sense that, obviously if it's a startup and whatnot, and it's just a one person startup, but they have a product that can be scaled, that's absolutely fine. But we're just very focused on it being a product that is ready to market and can be scaled.
Yeah, great. Then another one from Nick. Does the solution have to be something the passengers take with them, or is something just for use at the airport also suitable?
Ideally, the priority is for it to be a product that the passengers can take with them through their entire travel experience and then beyond the airport doors as well.
Great. Okay. Salma's, I think this is more of a confirmation. I assume the product would also be for young flyers and senior citizens too?
Yes, and I think that links up to the point of it needs to be approved in the sense that, we don't want something that will, I don't know, cause asthma or like cause any, health difficulties for anyone at all. So it should really be able to be used by all passengers.
Great. And when you start going through the application form, you'll also see that if you do have any, let's say, any credibilities or any approvals already, if it's a healthcare focused solution, then you can also upload any certificates or any kind of documentation to prove that. All right. All right. Soren wants to know a little bit more about your moonshot challenges.
Sure. So our moonshot challenges, actually, the applications just closed last week, just over a week ago. And we had two moonshots. We had a carbon negative aviation industry, and our second moonshot was airport to air portals. And so they really both look at idea stage innovations as opposed to products. It's more long term and it's linked to an accelerator type program. But if you're still interested, unfortunately, the application doors did close, but please do reach out and we're happy to share more information on that.
Perfect. Thank you, Amna. Just going through our questions to see if there's anything we missed out. All right, I think, Richard, you've shared some details about your solution. It'd be great if you fill out the application form. That will be, once we have the full information, we should be able to evaluate it. Shubhanji has asked, how about modifying the current travel hygiene kit as a permanent box to help passengers? Would this be something that would be along the lines that you're looking for, Amna?
That could definitely be an option. Yes.
All right, great. Okay, perfect. And Soren, just to answer your last question, I'll be sharing an email address on the next slide, which you can use to reach out to Amna and myself. All right, perfect. Well, that was quite nice Q&A. I think we answered over 30 questions, Amna. Well done. All right, great. Like I mentioned, the application deadline is the 3rd of August. It is creeping up very soon. I hope Amna and I were able to answer all your questions that you may have in the short run. And in the case that you come up with something while you're filling out the application form, feel free to reach out to us on cohort@DubaiFutureAccelerators.com. This is where you can easily reach out to us and, Amna or myself, we will respond to you. If you want more information about the challenge, we do have a landing page set up, which is on the Area 2071 website under Traveler Wellbeing. We will be making this presentation available to all those that have registered, so you can always find these links in your inbox in the next 12 hours. All right, perfect. So any parting words, Amna?
Good luck to everyone. But thank you all for joining. I've seen a lot of familiar faces, but a lot of new people as well. So that's always exciting. And a lot of you have tagged us over the last couple of days, conducting brainstorming sessions and all different kind of ideas. So thanks everyone for being always so engaged. We look forward to receiving all the exciting applications. And again, if you want to connect further, please reach out to us. Please follow our social media platforms if you don't do so already. We post quite a lot of different events over there as well. And good luck.
Great. And I just want to add, it's really exciting for us to be able to host, let's say, a B2C focused challenge. So it's really interesting the kind of applications we're getting, and we're looking forward to more great ideas and solutions. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on our email address, and we'll be getting back to you as well. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for joining us today.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.